Hello friends, today let's understand, because the exams are around the corner, let's understand the most important concept or aspect which is essential not just during the exam times in the student's life but throughout our lives, be it in career or professional lives. Now the topic that we're going to cater today is about memory enhancement tips. Now in this we're basically going to understand the process how a memorizing or memorization takes place in an individual's body. What are the tips in order to improve your memory skills both naturally and scientifically? And finally we would talk about few mnemonic devices which will help not just in improving your memory power but will also help you in understanding or having a strong recall factor. Now memory, as everyone knows, is a very complicated concept. Okay, it has been there are different ways in which each one of us understands or takes memory as a concept. Now memory is basically a skill where you learn and continue to improve the brain life of yourself or of your own individual brain. Now the best strategy for a lasting memory improvement is basically a very prolonged, or it has to be a continuous process. Now first one needs to have a very healthy and a very fit lifestyle which becomes a foundation of a memory recall or a memory improvement, and finally one can have a good memory. Now like I said, memory is a very complicated process and it has few different aspects which need to be taken into consideration. Now the process is being divided in everyone's brain into three stages. The first stage is where you actually create a memory. Now brain has to send signals via neurons known as synapses when they see something which needs to be registered. Now this is they are creating a memory known as synapses. Now if you have to consolidate this memory, okay, one needs to really pay a lot of attention, one needs to really do a lot of processes or needs to have some naturally and scientifically ways to improve your skills, memory skills, so that the consolidation of the memory takes place in a very strong way and with a long-term perspective. Now this can be recreated in the same pattern that we will be discussing in the future. Now post the consolidation of the memory takes place, the most important aspect is recall of the memory. Now recalling of the memory is basically, it is very normal to have memory losses, but these memory losses sometimes can get really frustrating. So recall means when the consolidation of the memory has taken place in a correct way, and the recall or when the remembrance of the similar event can take place in a faster concept. Now memory loss is a normal part which we all know. Okay, in the old age it is being termed as a disease or as an illness known as Alzheimer's. Now that does not mean that we all will face Alzheimer's in the future or when we grow old. Everyone will have some part of the memory loss or will have a tendency to forget things, but we can at least postpone the forgetfulness for a prolonged period of time if we take care of our brains correctly from today on a regular basis. Now the first important thing for memory enhancement is you have to accept that everybody has moments of forgetfulness. Now when somebody has moments of forgetfulness, sometimes it is okay, but prolonged or continuously it becomes a frustration. Now memory or the way you memorize or the strength of your brain is somewhere linked to genetics also. But that does not mean that if your genetics are not strong, you cannot have a strong memory. Now in order to develop a strong memory, we obviously have to do it in two ways. First, you need to improve the health of your brain, and second, you need to learn or start using memory skills or memory enhancement skills. Now memory improvement for everyone should not be a burden, as it is a process which can take place continuously in everybody's life in a daily basis and as a routine, and not just an extra thing that one needs to do in their routine process. Now let's first understand some tips which are naturally available that one can do in order to enhance their memory and to have a strong recall of the memory as well. Now, the first very important thing is you have to make time for meditation. Now, meditation is a very important concept, not just for your healthy body but for your healthy brain also. Now, when one meditates, one obviously is stress free. The brain, the blood circulation in the brain is growing. One has less of blood pressure, and obviously as the blood pressure is less, the circulation in the brain is growing for the blood, the oxygen content in the brain is growing, automatically the gray matter enhances. Now, the gray matter is the most important part. Bigger or larger the gray matter in your brain, much strong the memory is. So one has to make sure that the gray matter keeps growing. Now, for the gray matter to grow, one has to meditate. So meditation and relaxation techniques, where it's just short term, you just have to meditate every day peacefully with your eyes closed, lot of breathing exercises, lot of relaxation of your body when you're not thinking much, every day for a short span of time, and over a period of time you will not just see your health improving but also your brain capacity growing. The second important thing, along with meditation, one also needs to do a lot of exercise. Now, exercise here means physical exercise, where you do a lot of biking or you do a lot of cycling, you do a lot of running, jogging, something that way. Now, this will help in growing your brain cells. Now, according to some research in the past, it's been said aerobic exercises is the most important way or the most simple way to stimulate the brain growth cells and enhance your memory skills in the future. So if you see the kids who are very active have a very strong memory. The kids who are a couch potato, who just sit and want to just listen or talk and just want to watch television, they have a slow growth in terms of brain development. The third one is sleep. It is very important to have good sleep. Now, good sleep, it does not mean 10 hours, 12 hours of sleep. An average for an individual above 20-25 years today is a 6-hour sleep in the night. I'm not talking about when you're taking a nap, when you're taking a power nap, sleeping in your office timings or during your lectures. I'm talking about a proper at a stretch 6 hours of sleep. 6 to 8 hours is a very decent amount of sleep. Now, obviously, when you're sleeping, you're relaxing your brain. You're not thinking. So your brain is relaxed. Again, the oxygen content is growing. It is coming into your system. It is going into your brain. The blood flow is simple. It is just as per the normal pace. So automatically, your brain problems are reduced. Your mind issues are not there. And your brain relaxes, leading to obviously memory enhancements. The fourth way of doing it is you practice mindfulness. Now, there is a very thin line between meditation and mindfulness. Mindfulness is where you understand or you are present in the current situation naturally or normally, which means you are very you just make sure that you're present always in and around, or you're mentally present when something is happening around you, and you keep registering yourself those events into your brains in a very natural way. Now, obviously, this is a mental habit, okay, which means you're not absent-minded. Mindfulness means you're not absent-minded. Whenever you're there somewhere, you're there 100%, you're registering the event, and then you move on to the next situation. So this mindfulness is the most important part one needs to understand or have when they want to have a memory enhancement. The next one is train your brain. Train your brain with a lot of exercises, memory games, Scrabbles, puzzles, do a lot of word recall factor games, all these. So play a lot of memory skill games in and around with your people, with your friends, your colleagues on a regular basis, and because of which most of the organization today have every half yearly or maybe once in a year a concept of management games, where they make sure a week or maybe 2 days or weekend is given to the employees to improve their physical and mental capacities. Now this is done just for with a very long difference of maybe once in a year or once in 2 years. But this has to become a regular exercise for a team. So the team leader has to make sure that they do it on a regular basis with their team, or a teacher makes it, or a professor makes it compulsory, or a regular exercise in their class every time before he or she starts or ends the lecture. So this becomes a routine for individuals, and a very naturally, unknowingly, in a very fun way, your brain capacity is growing. Some people, or sometimes it is very important to write down. If you ever see, or you must be coming across a lot of people who write things, and by writing they can recall the answers more easily, or they can recall the things more easily. So the list can be recalled fast if you start writing. Some people, instead of writing, have a habit of reading it aloud. So if you give them a list as to what needs to be done, the to-do list, they will read it aloud once. The reason is not because they want to check whether there are mistakes or no, but that is a way for them to memorize it. So once they've read it aloud, they know they don't have to go back again and keep opening or keep checking the page, is because it has been registered. So reading aloud, which we've done, all of us have done in our young age, in our childhood age, where we've memorized answers by reading it aloud, is one of the most easiest ways to memorize things. So when there is something which is happening, just repeat it to yourself a little loudly, that, oh, this happened, this is what happened, or this is what was being said in the meeting. So when you repeat it, it gets registered automatically, and the recall becomes more faster. Try mnemonic devices. Mnemonic devices are devices which will help you in building your memories, enhancing your memories, and obviously having a strong recall factor. We will be talking about these devices in the later part of our lecture, so do not have to worry about exactly what are these and how are these to be conducted. The next one is repetition learning. Repetition learning means some people have a habit to repeat. Like I said, when the event is over, few important things which need to be remembered, repeat it to yourself, or just repeat it to your people in the team, that A, B, C points to be remembered when you move out from here. So after everything, the summation, if once repeated to yourself or loudly to your team again, becomes easier for the team to remember, and obviously when you do it for yourself, it becomes easier for you also to remember. And lastly, you cultivate a positive mental attitude. PMA. It's a very simple, universally accepted term, PMA, positive mental attitude. Everywhere, across all the sessions you must have heard, or you must have come across or read online, everywhere the bottom line is think positively. The more positively you think, the better it is. You need to have that confidence. I'm not talking about overconfidence here again. I'm talking about confidence. So the better confidence you have on yourself, the easier it will be to learn, memorize things, or even to articulate things for others. Now when I even if I know I have a poor memory skill, I need to keep telling myself, no, I'm improving every day, no, I'm improving, my memory skills are growing. This positive attitude, this positive mental attitude that yes, I am doing better, after regular practice of memory enhancement skills, naturally and scientifically, my memory power is growing. When I keep having this positive attitude, automatically it will have an impact on yourself, on your brain, and you will see a positive result. Now all these things were very naturally which you could do, like meditation, exercise, sleep factor, reading it aloud, repeating things, writing down things, or you just thinking positively. All these are naturally. But there are some scientifically proven ways in which you can actually enhance your skills. But an overdose obviously is not what one can do. Okay, so when I'm talking about these scientifically accepted things, please make sure you consult a person, a prescribed or an authorized authority before consuming these things naturally, or which are there scientifically. Now the first way of enhancing your memory is having a good vitamin D factor. Now vitamin D is the most important thing when your brain is concerned. If you have a low vitamin D content in your body, which is vitamin D3 content in your body, automatically you will have a lot of pains in your body. You will see a lot of you will see a little lethargicness in your body. You won't be sparky, you won't be active in your life. Okay, your brain will be very tired and sleepy all the time. Now, because it is tired and sleepy, because you have no vitamin D content in your body, automatically your brain cell is not the place where registration of the memories are taking place. Now, because of this, there's a low metabolic pathway which results into poor memory skills, which is present in the hypothalamus or cerebellum of your body or of your brain. Now, for enhancement of these metabolic factors for your brain, one needs to have a good exposure of early morning sunlight. Now, early morning sunlight is the most safest option. You need not have to go and get a prescription from any doctor to go and sit in the sun for at least 10 minutes in the morning every day. So every day, once you get up, you finish having, you're freshened up, you've had a little water and you have hydrated yourself, please make sure you go out in the sun. Meditate for 10-15 minutes in front of the sun also, so that you get the vitamin 3, and naturally meditation is taking place and your grey matter is also growing. So vitamin D, the best source and naturally available source is sunlight, early morning sunlight, and not 10 o'clock in the morning. When I'm talking about early morning, I talk about 7-8 o'clock in the morning sunlight. So you need to take that for at least 10 to 15 minutes every day, and you will see changes not just in your physical body but also in your mental body also. The next one is you eat brain food. Now, brain food obviously means a lot of food which has a lot of good amount of antioxidants, vitamins and all of that. Simple is broccoli, cabbage, dark chocolate, a lot of turmeric, almonds, blackberries, blueberries, all of this, you know. हम बोलते हैं ना badam khao. So this badam khao means actually badam has those antioxidants and vitamins which actually grow the memorization power of your brain. So if you have that in a good proportion on a regular basis throughout your week, okay, every day don't you have broccoli, cabbage and blueberries and blackberries and almonds, have them in the right proportion across the entire week and repeat this healthy diet every week on week basis along with the other consumption that you keep doing on a daily basis. You will see changes in your system again. The third important thing is your stomach, your gut. Now, if you must have ever noticed, the minute you have a stomach pain or your stomach is upset or it is hungry, your brain is the first one to get stimulated and you start getting a headache, you start getting irritated, you feel anger, all of that start happening. So in short, your stomach is your second brain. It is somewhere the stomach, the gut and the brain are connected to each other. If one is upset, the other has to get triggers. So having a healthy stomach or a healthy gut is very, very important, which obviously depends upon a diet. A lot of junk needs to be avoided. A lot of oily food needs to be avoided. No sugar or minimization of the sugar content in your body is important. So all these things will keep your gut healthy. Automatically your brain will be healthy and will have a lot of oxygen to process the things to be registered actually. The fourth important thing which can be scientifically proven can be consumed is omega-3s. Okay, omega-3s is basically a fatty acid, or you can say an oil which is present in fishes. So the fish oil can be used either for cooking, or there are tablets available after prescription which can be consumed as per prescribed by the authorities, which also help in enhancing your brain power. Now, people who are vegetarians obviously do not consume fish oil or fish oil supplements. They can move on to the appetite which I've just, or to the diet which I just said, like broccoli, cabbage, almonds, blueberries, etc. Now, obviously, these fish oils are made from good fishes. So when they are made from healthy fishes, specifically they are in cold storage kind of cold water fishes. So automatically your brain power is enhanced. Now, in short, if I have to sum up, you know what I will say, all the vitamins are important. Vitamin D, C, D, E, K are very important for your brain development. Not just that, magnesium, iron, iodine, all these, zinc, all of these, all the minerals, everything in the right proportion when consumed on a regular basis, which means you avoid junk food and only consume healthy food, and just make sure junk is just once in a week, like we give kids. Even you, if you have junk once in a week or once in some time, your memory, your brain power will automatically see changes in it. So scientifically, if I have to say, vitamin D3, the natural source of sunlight, then maybe your basic food of cabbage, broccoli, almonds, blueberries, all of this. Then you can say your omega-3s, some naturally available or mineral contents, your strong stomach. All of this, okay, when eaten or when consumed at a very good proportion on a regular basis with a perfect dietary chart, will help and will for surely help improvement of your brain, or of your memory, growing of the gray matter in your brain. Now this was something which was naturally and scientifically. Now if I have to tell you about some mnemonic devices, or you can say some tricks or games which can be played by yourselves on a regular basis so that you start memorizing things more easily, there are 6 different ways to do it, or 6 types of devices or techniques you can do it. The first one is visual image. Now whenever you think of something or think of a location, try visualizing it in a very picture format. Okay, when I think of maybe my office, instead of having a clumsy or a very boring atmosphere, I visualize it as a very happy place. Okay, or if I think of a location where I have to travel, instead of understanding or remembering where to take a left or a right, I memorize it saying that if I cross X landmark, then I cross the Y landmark, then I cross the Z landmark, I will be at my destination. So visually imagining that you are doing it, okay, before doing a thing or before repeating an event will help you in remembering things more easily. Okay, like I've said in my previous session once, that before actually going on the stage, imagine once you are on the stage and then start talking. Okay, how will you talk, what will you converse? एक बार वो आप जी लेते हो ना, वो नर्वसनेस चली जाती है. जब वो नर्वसनेस चली जाती है, ऑटोमेटिकली यू डू द बेस्ट. Similarly, for memory enhancement, visualize things before you actually do it. The second one is start making sentences or out of everything. Okay, so if you see something which is maybe a short form, have your own long form of it. It becomes easier for you to remember that. Okay, or if you feel that the letters that are represented in a process, the letters which are there, you have to follow A, B, C, D process. It gets difficult to understand A, B, C, D, remembering it. Remember in your own sentence format. Zaruri nahi hai the same sentences need to be memorized. Remember in the way you feel it's more easier, and then you will see it becomes easier for you to remember the process than actually rectifying the process. The third one is when the entire sentence is given, sometimes it gets very difficult to learn the entire sentence. Find short forms. We all do, no? 10 objectives given in our answers to learn. Very difficult to learn those 10 objectives. Rectification हमसे नहीं होता. We do the initials of each objective and make it a sentence, or or make it an entire word, and then it becomes easier for us to remember that those 10 objectives, because we know what does H, O, M, E stand for. So H stands for maybe habit, O stands for the optimism, so it becomes easier for us to remember because we know each alphabet in home will be an objective which we have to write in our exam paper. So start making short forms, or you can say abbreviations of all the sentences which are difficult. Now this is the next technique is something which we have been practicing from the time we've been born, okay, which is rhymes. Now for us it was very difficult to learn numbers, alphabets. We ratified it, but if today's generation, if you ever come across and you see, it's become very easier for them to learn. They have learned numbers, spellings, days of the week, months of the year very easily. And why have they done that? Because they have done it in a rhyme format. Teachers teach them in rhyming. Just like कोई हिंदी गाना में बहुत फटाक से याद हो जाता है because we've heard it twice, is because it has a music attached. Similarly, start learning or memorizing something in a jingle format or a rhyme format. Add some music to it, or add some tone to it, add some variations when you're reading it. Automatically you will learn it and it becomes very simple. And this is something which I have tried it myself, okay? So it becomes really simple to learn. Then you have chunking. Chunking means breaking. Now if I tell you to remember a 10-digit cell number of mine today, maybe in one go it will be very difficult. But if I have to if I tell the similar cell number with a breakup, okay, 4-digit, 3-digit, 4-digit, it becomes easier for a student or for you all to remember. If I have to memorize a kid or somebody my cell number, my nephew, my niece, anybody my cell number, I will always break them, ask them to learn those 4 numbers first, then the remaining 3 numbers, and then the last 4 numbers. When you break the entire long series of numbers or anything long into parts, bits and parts, and then memorize it, that is known as chunking. And chunking is the most useful device today to memorize anything which is long. And finally, the last method is method of loci. Method of loci means visually drawing the picture, okay, or the process in yours. So if I give you a list that you have to buy some things A, B, C, D from a supermarket, and I tell you these are the 10 things you need to buy from a supermarket, you know which supermarket you have to go to. So you visually memorize. Once I enter on the left hand side, if I start, the left hand side has X, Y, Z counter where I will get my list number 1, 5 and 4th item. So I pick it up from there. Then I move to the second column or the second shelf. There I'll find one more item which is there in the list. So when I visualize it or remember it in that pattern, for me to keep checking my list again and again will not be the case. Another way of method of loci is loudly reading it out. So like I said, read it aloud, in the previous part, saying that if you have a list, read that list aloud. It becomes easier for you to remember them. The tendency or the chances of forgetfulness will go down if you have a method of loci. So if I have to sum up this entire thing that I said, now there is a concept which is known as neuroplasticity. Now neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to change, grow, get better throughout your lifetime, and we all have that neuroplasticity concept inside us. Now every day our brain has given us an opportunity that we can help it grow, both new and the old ones to be fresh still, okay? Now it is up to us how we grow it. It is up to us how we make sure our gray matter is not subsiding and just growing every day on a regular basis. So brain has to constantly go through changes, which is very, very important. And for all our daily habit influences has a very strong influence. The way we are, how we treat ourselves, the lifestyle we live in, the kind of exercises or the habits we are into, all of that helps finally conclude how our brain is going to function or what kind of a memory we are going to have in the end. So if we have to say a memory is a skill, just like other skills, it can be improved with a lot of practice, healthy overall habits, eating, staying, lifestyle habits. And for this, you just have to start at a very small way. A small way of maybe just starting with sleeping on time, sleeping enough for 6 hours at a stretch in the night. That is a small way to enhance, and then gradually growing the number of activities as a regular routine and not just a very normal regular mental process. It's not something which you have to do it extra or shift from your routine and do it for your brain enhancement. It should become a part of your daily routine which just goes with the flow, and you after a few days you should not realize that, oh, I have spent this much or I have done this. It should just become a routine process. So start small by maybe sleeping on time for a good number of hours, eating good food, avoiding junk food, and then moving on to the other ways of memory enhancement which is being spoken in the today's session. Thank you. Hope you all had an interesting one. If there are any questions, please let me know. I can solve them immediately. Alright, thank you so much. Hope to see you all soon, maybe in the next session.